just a plain. It was a very elaborate presentation. And I think that this is a very good example how to start the whole this organization. It's a very good example. Sophia, would you like to make a comment on that? Or
yes, it's great talk and great arrangement of all the obligation that somebody has if he or she wants to be a cardiorheumatologist. I'm just wondering if you fix the time that a person under training of specialty of cardiology or rheumatology must spend in the relevant department, and the time that somebody who has already the specialty, either cardiologist or rheumatologist, must spend in a department for cardiorheumatology.
Unfortunately, the status quo is still that there is no cardiorheumatology subspecialty at all. So you cannot train in cardiorheumatology in the UK, neither as a cardiologist nor as a rheumatologist. That's what I'm saying. I think this is a long game. The curricula are renewed every 5-7 years or so. The cardiology curriculum was just renewed a few years ago, so it's not going to come around for a little while. But that gives us a bit of time to lobby. It gives us a little bit of time to ask these questions, Sophie, that you've just mentioned, to make the case, to raise awareness, and hopefully establish a cardiorheumatology subspecialty in the next curriculum. If it's not in the next one, then we may have to wait another 5 to 7 years.
No, it's too much. I'm just wondering if doctors under specialty can have a couple of months, let's say cardiologists, maybe they spend 2 or 3 months in a rheumatology department, a rheumatologist in a cardiac department, in order to be familiar with the process we follow in each specialty to validate the cardiac involvement in rheumatic patients. How do you find this thought?
Again, because there's no recognized subspecialization in cardiorheumatology, that would not currently be possible under the training guidelines. People are, of course, free to look for fellowships outside of their core training. So once they've completed that training or they've fulfilled all their requirements, they can go and have advanced training in areas of their choice. So they may be able to join such a department. In the UK, a lot of this happens through research, because many of our young doctors, before they become consultants or in the time on the route to that, take some time out for research. They spend 2 years or 3 years doing an MD or a PhD. And this is often in an area of their subspecialty or specific interest. So we get a lot of those trainees doing cardiac MRI, but also, we have a couple who are interested specifically in rheumatology, and because they know that that's what we're doing, they've come to us, and then we then facilitate their rheumatology training together with our rheumatologists. But none of that happens within the curriculum, unfortunately, because, as I said, it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. Maybe we have to propose to include in the curriculum doctors under specialty, not before finalized the specialty, to be exposed in cardiorheumatology. It depends. I mean, cardiologist to rheumatology and rheumatologist to cardiology for 3 months. It would be important because if they are exposed, then maybe we create an interest for these people to have further training or to deal with the research. But at least they have to be exposed for a couple of months in the relevant specialty.
It's, as you can imagine, and I'm sure you face the same, it's of course a huge logistical challenge. If we wanted to take all our cardiology trainees and send them all to a rheumatology department for a couple of months, our rheumatologists would say, thank you very much. The NHS is completely overwhelmed with clinical care. Taking on additional training would be near.
Look, if it is 1 or 2 months, maybe it will not be so overcrowded, but they will have the chance to be influenced.
Yeah, so these are all my challenge. And then the other argument is always, well, cardiologists have to learn a lot of things already. And then all the time there are new things. There's cardio-oncology now. There's, you know, whatever you can do in electrophysiology is much more than it was just, you know, 10 years ago. The various imaging modalities, so we cannot overburden our trainees with too many subspecialties. So my suspicion is that a future curriculum might include an option for training in cardiorheumatology. I doubt that it will be mandatory. There may be something like the fig leaf that currently exists for cardiac MRI, that every trainee in the UK needs to be exposed to cardiac MR, but it's enough if they go onto the SMR website and do the level 1 course, you know, while having dinner or changing the nappies of their children. I suspect it will be like that for cardiorheumatology, that, you know, there's a mandatory whatever, do the cardio-IMED webinar on cardiorheumatology, but more intensive training, I suspect, will be reserved for those with a particular subspecialty.
The other option is, instead of being to a rheumatology department, cardiologists should be, let's say, it should be part of their curriculum to follow some cardiorheumatology webinars or mini congress or educational activities with cases, in order to be exposed to the field. And they have, I mean, the curriculum must be organized in such a way that they should accomplish, let's say, 30 hours or 40 hours of exposure to cardiorheumatology in order to proceed for the exams. This is easy. We don't create problems to the other specialty, and it's something that they can get it through the computer and also in in-person meetings. How do you find this idea?
I think this is much more realistic, and I'm sorry, Jürgen, that I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big dreamer. It's not.
My feeling is the following, and I think there's a responsibility for us as old people who've been around for a while. The thing is to show the young doctors who are in training the opportunities that come with being in a field like cardiorheumatology. Because when they become consultants, you know, PCI intervention is a crowded place where there's lots and lots of people. Electrophysiology is becoming very crowded, so making a career there is difficult. So I think young people need to understand that this is a real subspecialty, where if they become, you know, if they become one of the few leaders in the field in the future, they will be, you know, they will have a great career ahead of them with lots of opportunities and, you know, patients that they can look after and be fulfilled in doing so. I think our job is to show opportunities to young people, and then they will follow and they will come and they will seek the training. And then for those who are interested, we need to have opportunities for them to train. That's what we're trying to do with our training fellowship in the UK, which hopefully next year we can extend to a 1-year stay rather than just 3 months, to give those who are really interested some opportunities to learn.
As a leader in the field, I mean, maybe you can recommend to the British Society of Cardiology to include, let's say, a couple of hours in the training of doctors of cardiology standard specialty. And when they finalize the specialty, maybe they have a free choice to join for research and further training in a specific department. But it's important to be exposed during their time of specialty in the cardiorheumatology ideas. I believe that it is important for both rheumatologists and cardiologists. And through webinars, through teaching courses, through meetings, it's a very good opportunity and an easy way to get some experience, to get some influence. Can you promote that through the Society of the British Heart Association?
Yeah, and we are doing that, yes, we're trying that. What about Switzerland and Greece? How are your efforts there to infiltrate the mother societies?
I have a question. There's a little bit a difficult connection, I think, at the moment. But Sven, do you have in UK an established cardiac imaging specialization, or is this underway or planned to do or in place?
Yeah, you can subspecialize in imaging, yes.
Okay. So you can subspecialize in, I would probably interventions, electrophysiology, and imaging.
Yeah, typically, and I think mandatory, you have to subspecialize in something like intervention, electrophysiology, heart failure, inherited cardiac conditions, and then you can add to that cardiovascular imaging.
Okay, yeah. So in Switzerland, we have the general cardiology training, and we just, I think, 1 year ago, the subspecialization in interventions in PCI, etc., was approved by a vote of the General Assembly, and now there is in preparation something for that for electrophysiology. This will be the case, and then whether imaging and heart failure will get the approval for a subspecialization is not yet clear. I think if that would come, so that we have a subspecialization in imaging, in cardiac imaging, then I think there would be space for adding a little bit more of exposure to rheumatology, because then it would be 1.5 year or something on top of the regular cardiology training that you do for imaging. So in this situation, I think it would make sense to add quite a bit of exposure for rheumatology. I don't know the situation vice versa on the rheumatology societies, whether it would be easy to send rheumatologists for 2 or 3 months into an MRI center to look what they do.
So what's about Greece, Manos? I think, is it feasible to create some workshops for both cardiologists and rheumatologists in order to get an initial exposure to this new field and then promote research for 1 or 2 years to those who have the interest?
I think this would build a lot of interest. I'm absolutely sure of that. Based on the example of cardiac oncology hybrid, I think rheumatology is a main subspecialty that calls for this kind of hybrids. Already we have rheumatology, pulmonary medicine collaboration, which is very fruitful, and also rheumatology, hematology collaboration. So we have hematologists and pulmonologists that are somehow specialized in systemic rheumatic disease, and we do a good job in the hospital. I think this is a very great idea. I would start with enthusiastic young cardiologists, maybe trained cardiologists, that they would like to be involved in a particular area, like rheumatologic patients. And from that point, then one could build interest in doing more elaborate work in terms of specialty period. So I think starting with hybrid presentations, actually we are already having yearly, we have some presentations of, we have an annual seminars in our department that have very good success because they are integrating different specialties together. And rheumatology is always a central player with that on these presentations and seminars, because it is the nature of this specialty to embrace a lot of other internal medicine specialties. So I would think that starting with presentations and seminars and webinars would be very fruitful towards this difficult part, as Dr. Plain explained very well. And I believe that it is a long way to go.
I just need to correct something I said a minute ago, because the latest UK curriculum, I've forgotten now, doesn't allow 2 subspecialties in cardiology, it's only 1. But imaging is one of those. So you can't subspecialize in 2 things only because the government wanted all of the cardiologists to also be dual accredited in general medicine, so they can draft them in to do general medical care. Yes. So you're back to your question that the imaging, yes, but then you can't do another subspecialty.
Yes, I understand. For us, it's very helpful to know that there is a neurologist or a cardiologist that will really take care of our patients as a specialty devoted to a particular system, instead of, rheumatology is more an internal medicine specialty.
However, depends on each country and on each continent. There are many different scenarios of rheumatology. Some rheumatology clinics, they have everything. They can treat patients. They have beds in hospitals. Some other clinics, there are only outpatient clinics, and if they have to treat somebody, they admit it in the internal medicine department. So there are many differences all over the world. However, in United States, there are currently many cardiorheumatology departments in function. So I think there is space, but I believe that it is essential for each specialty, for both rheumatologists and cardiologists, to have an initial access to the other specialty in order to be influenced, to be inspired by what they see. And this we can succeed it very easily through webinars, through meetings, through teaching courses, through the computer. So that would be an easy way to influence young people. And then if they like it, we can attract them for different research activities, and they have the subspecialty of cardiorheumatology. Although they will still remain cardiologists and rheumatologists, but we have this specific sensitivity, let's say, subspecialty in cardiorheumatology. How do you find it?
It's interesting that next year we will get a new tariff system in place here in Switzerland, and what we will see is probably a quite heavy decrease in reimbursement for interventions in the coronary arteries and decrease in reimbursement for electrophysiology. So there might be a shift of many people that looking around for alternatives, because the big salaries will probably will be lower. So there might be a little bit also a shift of people, as you said, Sven, in UK, that you say there's a lot of competition in these areas, so you might get less competition in imaging. And I think here in Switzerland there is less interest in probably interventional areas, and there might be more interest in other areas just because of the reimbursement aspects, which will change next year. I think at the beginning we should probably propagate the field by motivating young people that invest their time into an interesting field, and after that phase it would be good to have something more structured, so that it does not depend on a few people which are very motivated, but also a little bit obligation of saying specialists in cardiac imaging that they have to know a few things about rheumatology and imaging. I think in the first phase we should motivate young people to invest their time and do research and education, and in a second phase then maybe it should be more formalized in curricula and so on, to also, you could say, motivate all imagers to be up to date in the knowledge of these sub-disciplines. I think in Switzerland we are at the level where UK was 5 or 7 years ago. That means not much is available for this rheumatology, cardiology field. We could learn a lot from UK, from Sven. and I think we should probably start activities as you did in UK, and then in the next phase, hopefully we can then get to the level where we can ask to get these requirements into curricula.
Okay, maybe we should find a final agreement about what will be our next step. Sven or Jörg or Manos, I don't know who will do the final step for this.
I am very much inspired from this Sven's presentation. I think can we reach MedShare easily? Dr. Klein?
I couldn't hear that, sorry.
Can we reach MedShare easily? It is,
yeah, I think you just have to sign up and you can become a member of the group. And I think the group will be called CardioIMID. I don't know if it already exists because, as I mentioned, we're just recording these webinars. But as far as I know, you can just join it, yeah. And it's free. You get some advertising. That's how they finance themselves.
I would think a strategy would be to improve at a national level our presentation and see how it goes on, and maybe we can talk together again in 1 or 2 years after we try to set up some communication with young people and see how it works, and also to increase our the interest, to build interest in young cardiologists on this issue. I think this is a good idea, and then go on to proceed multi and European or international way. The other way would be to, as I told in my talk, that maybe we can create some publications, expert views on consensus, and this might be a very good starting point for this endeavor.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree. And we are connected already, aren't we, with through SCMR and through other efforts. And I think where national efforts are particularly successful, maybe they can help others to copy. Although, of course, situations are always different in individual countries and challenges are different. But yeah, we should definitely continue the conversation and learn from each other's successes and failures.
I think that's could be a good step. That was suggested by Professor Manoussakis, that we could benefit from this material that you produced, Sven, with your organization, and then we can identify young next generation imagers, cardiac imagers, that could say, okay, I want to go into this field, the rheumatology field, and then, yeah, that they can lead a project which is bound to a hospital or bound to Switzerland, and they can build up their career and would be enthusiastic to work in this field. I think via webinars we could probably motivate or find people that are interested, young colleagues, and then give them the responsibilities and the sources to work on that. I think that would be like the appetizer, such webinars, such material which is available, and from that on they can produce their own activities for example, here in Switzerland. Yeah.
I've just checked on MedShare. It doesn't seem to be on yet, but I can, of course, let everybody know once the material is there and available. As far as I recall, it was supposed to be freely accessible without any memberships or anything like that. Good. Well, it was great to meet you all. Thank you for the good conversation. Thank you, Sophie, for organizing it. Do we have an audience? Because I don't know, I haven't seen any audience. Is it just the four of us, or are there people listening?
Yeah. But maybe we can repeat it after a couple of months, say if we have news about this, and if we can exchange ideas about what we have done and how people reacted to these thoughts. Maybe we can meet again if you don't mind.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that would be nice to exchange opinions. And if you have anything new that can be of value for the rest of us, or any progress or any thoughts, okay, please communicate your thoughts and we can tell you what we have done. I hope we can do. I mean, I will work very closely with Manos to create some meetings and some teaching courses for the young doctors, not only regarding imaging, but also regarding understanding of rheumatology and rheumatic diseases and the way a rheumatologist is thinking about these diseases. Cardiologists must know that because they became the doctors only of the catheter doctors, and which is really sad. So we'll see you soon, hopefully. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.